Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Sagittarius, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of September 2023. I hope you are well. I'm using the Edmond Dulac Tarot for you today. Absolutely exquisite deck. Before the reading begins, if it resonates with you and you'd like to go a little bit deeper, there will be an extended that you can access at the end. That's the first link in the description box. The second link in the description box is to my private community, the Order of the Phoenix, over on Circle. You can get access to all of the extended content for no extra cost, so you can watch for your moon, for your ascendant, whatever you like. And you get to hang out with a truly extraordinary group of people, and I don't say that lightly. They are absolutely amazing. So, if that sounds of interest to you, you know what to do with that. Now, let's have a look and see what's going on with you, Sagittarius. Can I have 3 cards for Sagittarius, please? Whoa, there we go. So we have the Star card in your recent past. Let's just flip that around so that you can see it. How has that even happened? I don't know. Right, anyway, the Star card. Current energy, please, for Sagittarius. We have the Empress. Lovely. That's Taurus. The Star is Aquarius. Yeah. Empress is Taurus or Libra. And what's coming towards Sagittarius, please? Oh, there we go. So we have Justice and we have the Hierophant. Wow. Okay. We have the 7 of Cups at the bottom of the deck, which adds somewhat of a less clear view to what's going on. Like, you are the only sign that I've read for this month that's got a full house of major arcana. So yeah, which rather fits with the meditation that I did before I started your reading, as I do for every reading, where it was really quite intense. It's not really much happened. It was more feelings and intensity. There was a little flutter of anxiety here in my stomach, and what was the exact way that it was put? It was something along the lines of back to adventuring now, or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay, right, that's fine. So yeah, we've got Libra again here with Justice, and we've got Taurus again, possibly, with the Hierophant here. I mean, these are big energies. And just to explain, if you're not familiar with the tarot and how it works, the tarot is divided into major and minor arcana. It simply means, big work and little work, pretty much. It doesn't refer to the relative importance of that. It simply explains where it's happening. So the big work is the big universal energies that are coming and at play on you at this time. The minor work is your responses to that. It's what you're doing in your day-to-day life. Now, as we can see, September is characterized almost entirely by big universal energies happening at you, and there will be a corresponding there has been and there will continue to be a corresponding level of intensity that goes along with that. And I think for the most part, it's possible that you're not quite going to understand where this is taking you and for what purpose. But I think with the King of Pentacles, more Taurus again underneath there needs to be a plan. But there needs to be fluidity within the plan. So some sort of structure with a bit of redundancy built into it for when these 7 of Cups moments appear. It might be that there's just so much that's going on that's bewildering that as an anchor point for you, you need some structure to ground more than anything else, right? That's an important thing. And I think the difference in the energies between July and August were different ends of the spectrum, the extremes in their own right. On the one hand, July was just like fizzing. The whole month was fizzing. And then we had the other side of the spectrum, which is that you still had to chop wood and carry water. This month is a way of navigating between the two, finding your center, Sagittarius, and walking that path. Now, let's get some clarifiers out before I say any more. Put some meat on the bones of this. So tell me about the Star. Why is that here for Sag? We have the 5 of Wands in reverse, which is nice to see. And we also have the 6 of Cups. Tell me about the Empress card, please. Lord. Oh, we've got two there. We've got Justice and we've got the Five of Swords. Tell me about the Justice card and the Hierophant. Page of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles. Let's get one more because we have double cards there. We've got the Emperor in reverse. Now that is very, very interesting because the Emperor was coming up as an archetype in the meditation. I'd forgotten about that. There we go. And it was in relation to someone attempting to exercise a level of control over you. Now, this doesn't feel like it's someone close to you. It doesn't feel like it's a partner. It doesn't feel like it's a close family member. It feels like there's more of a distance between you. And it feels like it's kind of happening under the radar. It doesn't feel too confrontational. It feels different to that. It feels like it's someone who wouldn't have the balls to come and say something to your face, is actually how it feels. But it's interesting that I saw the Emperor in the meditation. It was right at the beginning. It kind of was there. And it wasn't about good use of Emperor energy. It was controlling. So something to look out for, but we'll get into that in a minute. So sorry that cards are kind of blending into the cloth here at the moment, but it is what it is, right? So you can see more or less what's going on down there. Let's start with the star card, and we'll put it here so that you can see it. It's a really beautiful depiction of the star. We've got some sort of top-down energy looking, from here, from your position here, looking down. Now, when we talk about the star, we always talk about it in terms of the future, right? It's very future-facing. So it's off that way. It's very rarely that we stop and we look down here. But I think that in this position of, chopping wood and carrying water, as we were talking about in August, I think that it's given you an interesting perspective. So the future is still something that is very, very important to you, but it's almost like your gaze got turned down to something else that was important. Now, for some of you, that might have involved children. We've got the Six of Cups there. That's, definitely a card of children. And there could have been an adjustment in an attitude towards children that's possible. It's there. I see it. I have to say it. If that doesn't apply to you, then what we've got is really what I was talking about the beginning there, like having been at either extreme, now we're looking for the place where we find our center, and it's kind of like looking down at the situation as is from this really high vantage point that you've managed to achieve and saying, right, okay, what is necessary for the things that I am hoping for in the future, the things that I'm looking for my future to contain, my highest hopes, goals, dreams, aspirations, wishes, all of those, and what has to be happening now in order for that to happen. And from this vantage point here, the star is looking down on the Five of Wands. Now that's a Saturn and Leo card there. It often talks about struggle, but I mean really it talks about conflict and strife, and that can be internal or it can be external. And I feel like there's a restoration of harmony here. Now, it's interesting how many cards we have seemingly implying that balanced position that we were talking about right at the beginning here. We've got the Justice card, we've got the Six of Pentacles, we've got the Justice card again, we've got this Five of Wands, which is balancing. Oh, Lord. So my cat is underneath the table and I had no idea that she was there. Not only is she underneath the table, but she appears to be devouring something. What even is that, Yin? Is that a rabbit? Was that a rabbit? I think that was a rabbit. A little rabbit, but a rabbit nonetheless. She's fucking stashing food under my table. Outrageous. Right, well, not in a position to be able to deal with that now, and she seems to be dealing with it perfectly well, so we'll just let her get on with it. If you hear any crunching sounds, that's where it's coming from. So, conflict, strife, instability, possibly in actions sometimes, right? But when the Five of Wands turns up like this, it's speaking to peace returning to a situation, balance returning to a situation, right? Something no longer being fraught, having energies which, could be quite aggressive, quite confrontational, right? It's kind of like a healing balm over the top of things. It's the making up bit. And I don't even feel like you've fallen out particularly with anything here, but I think that you've been feeling the tension over the course of August. I think that it's tried you in ways that you didn't expect to be tried, particularly not with the highs of July. It was almost like in July you felt completely unstoppable. Like, no, thank you. If any of you have ever seen the original Disney Aladdin, the animated version with Robin Williams, when the genie's first talking to Aladdin, and he's explaining what he is and what he does, and he grows, so he's absolutely enormous, and he fills the sky, and he says phenomenal cosmic power, and then he shrinks down and goes into the lamp and says itty bitty living space. And like, it feels to me like that's kind of the process that you've been through from July down to August. Phenomenal cosmic power, itty bitty living space. And it's like, yeah, you are that great big eternal soul. You are the universe experiencing itself, and you have access to everything that will go with that. But you're a human living, you're living a human experience. You still have to chop wood and carry water. And I think that aspect has tested you more than you anticipated it doing. She do be crunching. And that's okay, because there's as much growth in that as there is in the phenomenal cosmic power. Because if you're truly to evolve into who and what you are supposed to be, then certainly in this incarnation, on this plane, the itty bitty living space is always going to be an issue. Always going to be an issue. The question for you is, how do you maintain the balance between the two? Now, the Six of Cups is really interesting because, like I said, it can refer to children, but it can also talk about the past. It can also talk about past lives, and it can talk about past life connections. It can talk about those soul relationships that are really strong. And I think maybe over the course of August, as you have felt that kind of Saturn in Leo energy really working on you, and maybe some of this was Venus retrograde stuff here, I don't feel like you've been falling out with people that you love, but I think that there's been that underlying tension here while you're trying to sort your shit out and they're trying to sort their shit out, and everybody's trying to work out if everything is still valuable or not. It's somebody in my private community described it as crunchy energy, and I've just been using that for a week now because it's right, it has been crunchy energy. We've all been feeling the pinch, the tension somewhere in it, but because it's been Leo season, there's been an optimism about it, there's been an authenticity about it, and people have been willing to share how hard they're finding things, and there's been something so connecting in that, because that's the other meaning that I ascribe to the Star card. I won't go into the reasons why I do, because I've bored everybody stupid with that before in the past, but it's a very strong sense of connection, and it could well be that the relationships that are important to you have undergone a strengthening over Venus retrograde. Like, they've been tested a little bit, you've been tested personally, partners have been tested personally, even friends and family, everyone's been tested a little bit, And if it's still here and it's still going, that's a really good sign. That bond has deepened. And I think that this is really important, because now that energy is starting to lift a little bit. And it's lifting just in time for everything to start blowing up again for you, really, because you're finding your center now. You can handle a little bit more of the extreme stuff. So we move into your current energy, and we've got the Empress. Oh, I like that. I really, really like that. Like I said, it's Taurus energy, it's Libra energy. It's ruled by Venus, right? So actually we have Venus represented on the table as it is. And this current energy could well be the result of the Venus retrograde. I think it halts, it stations direct on the September the 4th. And then I think we have 4 weeks of it, winding down, retrograde shadow. As the energy starts to lose its intensity and Venus starts moving properly direct again. It's had the effect of working out what it is that we are truly grateful for. And likely it isn't what we thought it was. And if it is what we thought it was, then there's a whole new level of beauty that you find in that now. There's a simplicity about it. I think one of the reasons why it was crunchy is just because there were so many things going on at the same time. There was such tension, such stress on people. It's helped you sort in your mind what it is that actually has value, what it is that holds beauty for you. And you feel really committed to it. Really committed to it, Sagittarius. And all of the other things that go along with the Empress, which is, abundance and fertility. And it's an appreciation of true abundance. So it's not how many zeros you got on your bank balance. It's not the stuff that you have or, the house that you live in. It's who are you sharing these experiences with? Because in the instances where the bonds have deepened, and Venus retrograde hasn't shown you cracks and hasn't kind of shaken things around such that things are now falling down, there's a real appreciation of having found your tribe, having found your people. You're being there for people and having people correspondingly be there for you. There's something so beautiful and so joyous about it that you can't help but feel completely blessed. So then this Justice card and the Five of Swords are really quite interesting. Like I was saying, the Justice card is talking about the balance, always about the balance, but it's also talking about karma. It's talking about the consequences of our actions. The Five of Swords, it can speak to conflict and strife every bit as much as the Five of Wands does. But I tend to interpret this card as an internal one, where we realize where we've been thinking about things the wrong way. It's almost like the revelation. Oh God, I thought that was really important. Actually, it's just a load of bullshit. I don't need to worry about that at all. What matters is the people that you have around you. What matters is what you do. What matters is what you experience. These could be things that are coming up now. And rather than overthinking it and getting upset about it, it's just this huge swell of gratitude. Tell me about the Justice card, please. Oh, there we go. Three of Cups. It's your people. It's your tribe, Sagittarius. Wheel of Fortune. Now that is a Sagittarian card. And it says you've learned what you needed to learn. I feel like the people that were around in August are the people that are going to stay. And it could be that you spent a bit of August kind of up in your head being like, oh fuck, I need to chop wood and carry water and I've got all of these things to do and there's all these stresses on me, right? And it might have been that you didn't spend any time around any people for a while. But then suddenly the sociability thing just seems to have kicked in again. And there are people. And these people that are around you, these people who are showing you who they are, they're the ones who are meant to stay. Anyone else Not important at this point. Anyone who is not holding a supportive role for you, not important at this point. And that's what you needed to learn. It's one of the things that you needed to learn. It's one of the things that might actually still be playing out for you. You know, August isn't over yet. There's still time for people to pop up and whatnot. Although we are now actually. I see, we're a couple of days into Mercury retrograde. So it's likely that you might actually start hearing from some people that you haven't heard from for a while, but whether they stay in your life as opposed to the ones that were popping around in the rest of August, doubtful. Could go either way, but it's probably doubtful. But the point is, it's a little less about the people, and it's more about the appreciation of the people. I think there's something in the Sagittarian mind something in the Sagittarian experience which can be characterized by considerable sociability. Most Sagittarians I know are kind of social butterflies in some sort of way, right? They've got tons of different groups of friends, all entirely different, and they kind of flip between them all. They can flip between them all. But there's something quite isolated in that too. Because what Sagittarius struggles with, and what Sagittarius hasn't had for a long time, maybe ever, is those people around them that truly see them for who they are. I think for the longest time Sagittarius did not see themselves for who they actually were, and so it wasn't really much of a surprise that neither would other people. Fuck me, she's completely demolished it. That is wild. It's just a little tuft of fur on the floor. Amazing. So whilst on the outside it might look that you've got a solid group of people around you now, the biggest shift actually has happened in terms of the way that you perceive the value of these people who see you. And that's come from the way that you see your own value. I feel like you've grown exponentially over July and August. And maybe most of the growth actually happened for you in August, where things were difficult, where it was a little bit crunchy, where it kind of tested your optimism just a little bit, pushed you to your edges. But you've come back, you found your centre again. That's wonderful, I love it. So as we move into September, we have the Justice card reappearing again, and we have the Hierophant. Now this is a really, really interesting combination. I feel like the Justice card is doubly interesting because it's already put in an appearance here. You know, I haven't really mentioned it, but I probably should. If there's any kind of legal dealings that you are involved in at the moment, like I actually just had a whole conversation with Capricorn about this. It's really important that you keep your hands clean, as it were. Those who come to equity must come with clean hands. This is not a fighting fire with fire situation. This is doing what is right. So I'm just going to throw that in there, just in case some of you are dealing with that. But September seems like a really fateful month for you again. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot that will flow from what it is that occurs in September. Now, the Hierophant is an interesting card because it has a multiplicity of meanings, as every card does. It's multivalent. But because of its foundational quality, it is fixed earth. It represents Taurus. It has this sense of sometimes talking about our histories, right? That the very foundation upon which we, as we are right now, are based. And I've seen a couple of other signs this month really challenging their understanding of themselves, really challenging the platform that they're even stood on, being like, well, I am where I am, and I thought that this was how the world worked, and I thought this is how other people worked. But I'm actually seeing that a lot of this was projection from me. I'm seeing a lot of this was actually, incorrectly installed in me. So because the Hierophant has got this kind of provenance feel to it, we can see that foundation altering. It's solid. It's absolutely solid. And I just want to point out, you've got the Ten of Pentacles over here. But it can be solid in its support. It doesn't have to be solid in its content. And I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but that's how I'm feeling it here for you. And this Justice card feels very fated over the top of it. Now, it could well be, for some of you, that you're challenging certain notions of yourself. That would be entirely possible. You know, it could be that there is some shadowish stuff coming up. But honestly, I feel like August was the month where that happened for you. This is something different. Now, the Hierophant is also a teacher. It is a spiritual teacher. It is someone who can decode the wisdom of the universe and plop it into your ear in a way that you can comprehend. It could be a fated meeting with someone who is responsible for sending you in a particular direction that you would not have gone in. Right? For some of you, you might be meeting a spiritual mentor this month, and you might be spending quite a bit of time with them in that regard. You know, for others of you, although it tends to be represented more by the Emperor rather than the Hierophant, there's a paternalistic energy here in this card. And so it could be that there are fated interactions, you know, that will have consequences, really far-reaching consequences, in your relationships with a father figure of some sort. But I do want to draw the distinction between the energy of the Emperor in reverse and the energy of the Hierophant here. Although I've spoken to them both in terms of representing father figures, I do feel like they refer to different people, different situations. If you remember, I said that this felt like it was a little more detached from you. It feels like it's like a little add-on, and likely actually one that you might not necessarily even perceive this month, because your energy does seem to be taken up in the act of keeping yourself balanced. Now, if this spiritual mentor, if a spiritual teacher, if some sort of father figure is coming along and guiding you, this is what the Hierophant does, guides people in a way that is incredibly fated and does seem to be changing your direction of travel, right? It's exposing you to new ideas, it's exposing you to new possibilities, then it is going to fall upon you to remember the lessons that you learned in August, which is chop wood, carry water. You need to keep this balance. Like, you're ready to invest, you're ready to go down this route, but that balance needs to be held in the middle of everything. I feel like this character here is somebody who's trying to knock you off your balance. And it's interesting how that came up. A similar sort of energy came up for you in August. There's somebody who was trying to subtly undermine you. There was somebody who was trying to get in. I would go as far as to say trying to get in your head about stuff. And then we have a similar sort of energy here. But the fact that it's kind of tacked on the end means that this person hasn't given up. This person's not being overtly confrontational, but they're still trying to chip away in the background. I don't think that you're going to give it the oxygen of your attention, and I think that's exactly the right way to go. But I am going to pull an extra card. I mean, we're going to dig into this, into the extended specifically. But but there's an energy of, it's not quite a new start. I really want to make that clear, Sagittarius. Like, we're not bounding off on a new adventure that is so like completely wild and out there that you've never experienced anything like this before in your life. It feels like this is a month for creating groundwork, and it's going to have aspects of that July energy in it, but it's going to be very firmly structured. Oh, there we go, structured, because of the need to stay grounded. The balance is essential. for some of you, it might involve where you live. It might be a literal house. Sometimes the Ten of Pentacles can represent that. It can be talking about financial opportunities that might be coming along too. And, you know, the strong dominance of the Pentacles here, as we're talking about this, does give it a rather resource-based aspect to it. But it can be about your energetic resources as well. It doesn't have to be about the coin that is in your pocket or the bricks that make up your house, you know. Tell me about... So we have the Six of Swords appearing in the reverse. This is a coming back to a situation that is already happening. If there was somebody who was vexing the shit out of you in August, right, who you probably very rightly just decided not to give the oxygen of your attention, they're not going away. They're still at it. They're still looking for a way to knock you off your perch. And the thing is, because aspects of your foundation are so important to you here, it's going to come to nothing. But it's happening for a reason, Sagittarius. And as much as you're invested in this situation over here, I would keep just half an eye on what is going on over there. Tell me about the Emperor and the Six of Swords. Thank you. Page of Wands, because they're not done yet. In fact, they're just kind of getting ready to amp things up a little bit, I think. So get the grounding in place, get yourself rooted, but have your eyes open for some sort of guiding figure here. You know, I'm talking about it in terms of a kind of paternalistic energy, but it could just be, you know, I'm kind of leaning towards it being a man. I know that should be obvious with it being paternalistic, but it's somebody who knows more than you about a certain thing. And this month they're opening your eyes up to possibilities that with the right kind of investment can have a really strong return. But that investment doesn't necessarily have to be financial. It doesn't have to be even material in any sort. It might not be a time for money kind of exchange here. We could be talking about the investment of your will, the investment of your attention in hearing and seeing what this person who is coming in has to show you. Because they're opening your eyes up to something that you didn't fully comprehend before. Spiritual teacher, possibly. Father figure, possibly. It's like you have an opportunity here to get out of the echo chamber of the Sagittarian pinball machine. If I can put it that way, right? You're like pinging around all over the place inside, but you've got a different perspective coming in, and it's older than you, and it's wiser than you, and it's got ideas, I think. And these are things that you can take and you can run with, but we'll have to keep on board that energy of August and everything that was going in there. Because whatever this situation is that's brewing here in the background, Emperor in reverse, Six of Swords, Page of Wands, it feels like there's something there's something that's going to end up being really quite triggering about this for you. And when we talk about a trigger, we're never really talking about the situation that is in front of you. We are talking about something that has existed in the past, that your subconscious has made the connection to, and that's where the trigger happens, because the deep emotional pain from something that happened in the past is just being prodded by somebody's actions or your interpretation of somebody's actions, right? So we keep half an eye on this, because this is going to turn, there's going to be an attempt to turn this into something else. Maybe October, maybe November, maybe it's not even coming in till December, but something's brewing there. But the majority of your attention needs to be on rooting, grounding, and also allowing a little bit of magic in, right? A little bit of redundancy, a little bit of fluidity. This is really strong. I really love this for you, Sagittarius. Right, I'm going to go over to your extended. We're going to dig around a bit. I want to spend a little bit of time on this Emperor in reverse and see if we can get some indication what that might be about. But it might just be simply a pay attention, Sagittarius, because that situation isn't going away and it's going to get bigger in time. It's not time for you to nip it in the bud yet. That will come later. But you don't want to be complacent about that. And in the meantime, the rest of your attention needs to go over here. So yes, I am actually going to go and do that now. If you'd like to join me, Circle, Vimeo, it's up to you. Links are in the description box. If not, really positive month, Sag. Really positive month. Even including the Emperor in reverse. Lots can happen. Lots will happen this month, and it's taking it from the realm of the abstract and it's making it really material. And this feels really good, you know. All right, know that I love you all very, very much, and I'll see you soon.